Thank you. And I will call tonight's meeting to order. Welcome to the April 1st, Happy April Fools,
Mhm.
meeting of the Land Use and Building Management Committee of the Norwalk City Council. Um, we've got five committee members present. Uh, uh, Member Degenshine, Frere, Edie, Bailey, and myself, along with our amazing building management staff and some guests who will talk us through some of tonight's agenda. Uh, Speaking of which, let's go right into it. Tonight starts with a number of public hearings, starting with a public hearing giving the public an opportunity to comment on the proposed naming of the community room in the Norwalk Community Recreation Center in honor of Ernie Dumas. I will officially open the hearing.
And Robert Stowers is here tonight, and he can speak a little bit more about it because we didn't hear that the last month.
Thank you.
Thank you for allowing me to speak
And to
on
be here.
behalf of the Dumas family and also the Rec and Parks Committee, which passed this item on to you for a public hearing. So if the chair doesn't mind, I can continue to talk about why and those things.
Yes, thank you, Mrs. Stowers. If you don't mind giving us a little overview, and then we can open it up
Mhm.
for any members of the public.
Okay. Now I'm going to read a lot because I was not around when Ernie Dumas was here, so you'll have to excuse me, but I've heard a lot about him, and I think that I don't know, many of you haven't probably been in the new center, which I think is uh, just a sparkling, very nice job that has been done by Alan and his staff and the contractors. They've done a wonderful job, more than my expectations actually. And so this room is a very nice room, and it's going to be deserving of the person that will work the most in that area. Um, but he was a community advocate at his core. He led by his unwavering faith and commitment to live his life in service to others, and he did that in the fullest way every day. Mr. Dumas served on the city council and was involved with many efforts, initiatives to help improve and uplift his community. Some of the things that he did was he was responsible for the Basket of Love, which was an annual Thanksgiving and Christmas community celebration. He also started the Clean and Green program. He was responsible for the Department of Justice Weed and Seed initiatives, such as the group work camps, a faith-based home improvement project in Cure. And he also was responsible for the first ever carnival at Ryan Park. Also, he was responsible for organizing yearly neighborhood cleanups and South Norwalk Walks Citizen for Justice Committee. Those are just a few of the things that Mr. Dumas did for his community, but he did so much more than any of us will ever know about. Many of the initiatives and activities took place in the community in 98 South Main Street, formerly known as Neon, or in Ryan Park behind the building. Mr. Dumas's footprints are embedded in that building throughout South Norwalk and beyond. And while we know his memory will live on in the hearts of those he's touched, we believe the good works and deserves to be memorialized by naming the newly renovated community room in his honor, the Ernie Dumas Community Room.
Thank you, Mrs.
So
Stowers.
I think this is well deserved, and no better name for that community room than someone that was a community activist. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much for joining us tonight and for sharing that. I think there are so many people in South Norwalk and beyond who agree with every word. And so now we'll open it up to any members of the public who wish to participate in the public hearing.
Ms. Larchell, you're unmuted.
Yes, thank you very much. Good evening, Chair Houston and members of the council and staff. For the record, my name is Diane Lauricella, 21 Little Fox Lane. I was so happy when I had heard that and read in the past that there was a plan, and Mrs. Dumas was able to lift it up to name the new community center community room after Ernie Dumas. I helped him start the South Norwalk Citizens for Justice. I was an advisor and helped organize the agendas and helped him out. We did quite a bit in raising and lifting up the issues of South Norwalk. And I got to know the man behind the plan and was so pleased when I got a chance to see him in action in all of the different ways that he's helped his community. I won't repeat everything that Mr. Stour said, but I just wanted to say that it was an honor to know him. He walked the walk and talked the talk. So because of that, I'm sure others will have wonderful things to say. I highly recommend and am a big supporter of that room to be named after Mr. Ernest Dumas. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Torchella. I just want to pause to recognize our colleague Johan Lopez, who has joined the meeting, and go on to any other members of the public who wish to comment on this item.
If you'd like to speak, can you please raise your hand electronically?
Are you raising your hand for this item, Mr. Westmoreland?
Yes, I am.
Good.
I just want to say I've known Ernie Dumas for 15, 20 years. There was no other person I know of who cared more about the community, especially in South Norwalk, than Ernie. And he was always there to, help anybody in need. I think this is just such an appropriate thing, and I'm glad that it's being considered. I also don't know of anyone, and I'm from the South. I don't know anyone who could deep fry a turkey better than Ernie Dumas, because he did 35 to 40 turkeys every year, and just amazing. And he was just all around a great guy, and I'm really happy to see this. Thank you.
Hey, David. Are there any other members who wish to comment on this item?
We have no one else raising their hand.
Thank you. Hearing or seeing no other comment, we will go ahead and close the public hearing for the proposed naming of the community room in the Norwalk Community Recreation Center in honor of Ernie Dumas, and go on to our second public hearing of the evening, which allows members of the public to offer comments on the proposed Eversource energy easement for the electrical service upgrades for the Merrimack HVAC IAQ project. The floor is open and public are invited to speak. If you are wishing to comment on this, please raise your hand.
We have no one raising their hand.
Okay, going once, twice. Hearing no members of the public wishing to comment on this, we will close the public hearing on item B, the proposed Eversource energy easement at Merrimack, and go on to item C, the public hearing for the proposed Eversource energy easement for the electrical service upgrades for Rowayton School HVAC. The public hearing is open. If you wish to comment on the easement at Rowayton, please raise your hand now.
We have no one raising their hand.
Okay. Then we will consider that public hearing closed as well. Thank you, everyone, for taking part in any of those public hearings. We will now go on to the rest of our agenda, starting with the acceptance of the minutes from the March meeting. Is there a motion to move the minutes?
I move that we accept the minutes of the last meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Degenshine. Are there any comments, corrections, or questions about the minutes? Ms. Edie.
Thank you, Chair. I'm not sure, but I saw my name quite a few times for moving the item. I don't think I moved them that many times, but we could double check, but I don't think so. So thank you.
We could check the record, I guess. I think sometimes maybe if multiple people move at the same time, they flip a coin, and maybe you got heads this time. Um, Pending confirmation on that, are there any other comments or corrections on the minutes? Okay, Miss Edie, it's not the worst thing to be the mover and shaker of the world. And
That's
so if there are no other uh, comments, I will call for a vote. All in favor of approving the minutes from the March meeting, say aye, raise your hand.
Aye.
Thank you. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The minutes are approved. We can move on to public participation. If there are any members of the public present who would like to make a comment on anything listed on tonight's agenda, now's the time to raise your digital hand. And I see Ms. Loricella. I'm going to recognize you first.
Thank you very much, Chair, and members of the City Council, others, and the staff. Again, for the record, I'm still Diane Loricella, and the Land Use and Building Management Committee of City Council is one of my favorites. This year, I'm going to be spending a little more time. I'm doing a study about solar implementation and use. So I was, of course, very interested in the agenda tonight because I saw not a lot. I have a question for each of the following items. Under 6A, Fire Station 4, D1, the South Norwalk Library roof, E1, the Calf Pasture Beach Camp initial design, F as in Frank. Of course, you'll be speaking about the I think it's Dr. Shaw's South Norwalk Elementary School construction and some new request for contingency. On each of these, I would like to know if solar, be it roof, canopy, or ground mounted, is going to be part of the call of these fine architectural companies who have the ability to offer using solar to reduce the cost, the high cost of energy that our taxpayers are paying right now. We're in the middle of a budget season. I have spoken for years about the need to change our clean energy policy. So I'd like to know if each of those items, Fire Station 4, could geothermal be used? Could ground-mounted solar? I'm very familiar with the location. There are trees nearby, but in the back, I believe there's some room for or air source heat pumps or ground source heat pumps. And if not, why not? I know Antonazi Associates is very equipped if they are asked by the staff to look into that. Lastly, I just wanted to comment on the C1, which is the police plaza cost, $250,000 to restore the plaza. I first wanted to know, we have to look at each of these important large costs, capital costs. Is it necessary or is it just nice? Why does this plaza need restoration when there are $250,000 of better things that could be utilized? Could this be held off for years to come, just like we did with West Rock School, because it's so expensive? So I'd like to hear Mr. Lowe and his staff's opinions about all of these things that I mentioned, especially the South Norwalk roof, because very, I think, myopic way that we look at where to put solar on our roofs. At the very least, I know Mr. Lowe and others before him, Mr. Livingston, always said when we have a new roof, that's a time to look at solar. I think we could do better than that, but at the very least, since South Norwalk Library needs a new roof, where are we going to look at solar? And on F, why didn't we use PPA? I do believe that Second Taxing District was willing to make a better deal And will this project include solar ground mounted on that very steep but very sunny hillside behind the new Ruby Shaw School? Thank you for letting me speak, and I'd like to very much hear questions from some of you, because these things are open-ended questions that are not being satisfied to satisfactory planning for the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Loricella. Are there any other members of the public?
Yes, hello.
Hello, good evening. Please state your name and address.
I'm so sorry. I wasn't sure if it was unmuted. I'm Danny Loftus George. I'm the president of the Norwalk Conservatory of the Arts. My address is 130 West Norwalk Road, proudly in Norwalk, Connecticut. Awesome. So I am here to talk about City Hall and the potential for renovation and privatization of City Hall by the Norwalk Conservatory of the Arts. So I have some notes here. Let me just pull them up. I know 3 minutes. I'll keep it quick. So when I look at Norwalk, when I look at what value could be brought to Norwalk, I think the first and foremost is having a state-of-the-art performing arts venue. City Hall is an unbelievable space. However, it has not been updated in 40 years. I know that there's some new lighting that has gone in, but it is still not in a place where we can have most public performance. When we look at the space and the booking of the space, it is utilized 28% of the time. So the building is underutilized quite a bit. What we're proposing is a rental where we can help to raise funding for a renovation of the space. This is sound, lighting, a fly system. The fly system is outdated and actually dangerous at this time in the theater where the band shells are hanging. We're there to create economic development for the city. We'll have thousands of people attend performances. At the moment, we have many public performances, but most of them are held in Bridgeport, and that is thousands and thousands of people. And we need to move it to Norwalk. We are obviously the Norwalk Conservatory. We're the only college to offer bachelor's degrees in the city. We want to be able to use the space for other nonprofits to use as well. We'd like a public-private partnership here and a true partnership where the city can still use, obviously, the venue as much as it possibly needs, but we are helping to fund those renovations. Right now, the city does not have someone who's consistently on it. I believe it's with facilities some of the time, but it's very difficult to book and maintain the space. I think the big concern is working with the symphony. The symphony is fully on board for this. We've had those discussions. And I think that is everything. I think parking is probably going to come up as well. Please be aware that these performances are in the evening, because I know the nightmare of parking at City Hall during the day. And that's everything. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, Mr. Loftus George. And to clarify, that comment was related to the item on the agenda that refers to public-private partnerships for city-owned buildings. And I'd like to recognize Ms. Lynn Colatrella.
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Lynn Colatrella, and I am here on behalf of the Board of Directors of the Norwalk Conservatory of the Arts. We are respectfully asking the City of Norwalk to consider a public-private partnership, leasing the Town Hall Theater to the Conservatory for $1 per year. This is not a new or untested idea. In fact, it is a model that has worked successfully in other communities. I know this firsthand. As co-founder of Curtain Call in Stamford, I helped establish a similar agreement with the City of Stamford in 1993. Through that partnership, 4 public buildings at Sterling Farms were transformed into vibrant art spaces. What followed was extraordinary. 2 thriving community theaters, educational programming, youth engagement, and a cultural hub that continues to serve thousands of residents each year. This is the kind of impact we're talking about. Right now, the Norwalk Conservatory of Arts is already breathing life into the Wall Street district. You see students walking through neighborhoods, attending classes, collaborating, learning from an exceptional faculty. These students are not just studying the arts. They are becoming the next generation of artists, performers, and creative leaders. Some are already going on to Broadway and professional careers. The institution is a jewel in our community. But here's the challenge. Without a theater to call its own, the conservatory is forced to produce shows in Bridgeport. That means resources, financial and cultural, are leaving Norwalk. And I have to ask, why would we allow that? Why would we let a proven economic and cultural driver take its energy, its audiences, and its investments outside our city when we have the opportunity to keep it right here? Those funds could be going directly back into Norwalk, into scholarships, into programming, into access for our community. This partnership is not just about building, it is about investing in education. It is about steering our cultural identity. It is about positioning Norwalk as a leader in the arts. By giving the conservatory a permanent home, you are giving it the opportunity to reach its highest potential, becoming one of the finest theater training programs in the country, right here in Norwalk. I urge you to continue exploring this partnership. This is more than a lease, it's a legacy. Let's make sure the future of arts doesn't leave Norwalk, but takes center stage right here. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Colatrella.
We have now we have no one else raising their hand.
Okay, thank you, Darlene. And so thank you to members of the public for your participation tonight. We will close public participation for tonight and go into our regular agenda, starting with old business. The first item is related to our first public hearing tonight, the naming of the community room in the new Norwalk Community Recreation Center in honor of Ernie Dumas. As we heard tonight, Ernie was a community advocate at his core, led by his unwavering faith and commitment to live his life in service to others. And he did that to the fullest every day. He also served on the city council and was involved with many efforts and initiatives to improve and uplift his community. Would someone like to move this item? I see you, Mr. Degenschein, even though you're on mute. The floor is open for any further discussion.
Go
ahead, Alan.
Yeah, I just want to note that subject to the approval or recommendation of this committee, the proposed naming will go to Common Council, I guess, in 2 weeks or so. And I think that's the last step. There's no more additional approval required after this public hearing and the committee recommendation.
Okay, we're the second to last door. Mr. Bailey, go ahead.
And obviously support this. And unfortunately, I never get to meet Mr. Dumas, but I've heard the most amazing things, over the last few months since his passing. And I assume there would be some sort of ceremony, and that who controls the timing of that ceremony? Alan, is that you and your team, or is that driven by some other body?
Yeah, I think Councilwoman Darlene Young is the one that made the initial recommendation to me and to the member of the council behind the scene kind of thing. I don't mean anything secret or anything. You just she's initiated a conversation.
She got the ball rolling.
Yeah. So I do know Ernie for a number of years, and in any event, I typically don't set the day. It's really working with so since Darlene brought it up, so I will probably reach out to her and also get some information about Ernie's family availability and stuff, and we probably set a day. The building is scheduled to get the CFO probably within a week or so. So
oh wow, okay, great.
Yeah. So and at the same time is that we are the actual occupancy of the building. We're still working with Robert's office and in terms of staffing and everything else in between. So, but meanwhile, I think I think the earliest probably in May sometime. We still have a little bit of a issue with the elevator because the elevator contractor hasn't really start and finish the work. So we will get conditional certificate of occupancy. But meanwhile, the actual because the elevator contribute to any issue of ADA compliance. That's
Yeah.
why it's conditional. So we're looking to have the downstairs would be accessible for to the city staffing kind of thing. But again, the earliest probably in May. That's why we have a
Okay.
event.
Great. Thank you, Alan.
Sure.
That's a good question, Brian. And I think a more recent sort of analog is the South Norwalk School, where the ceremonial rename it's been renamed Ruby Shaw, and the ceremony will take place in May, actually on the day before Ruby's birthday, and it happens to be a day that her family is able to fly in, and so I think that'll be similar.
That's great.
Yeah.
So let's not do on that date.
It's not really that. I wanted to share my personal memory of Ernie, who I only knew in the last, I would say, 9 or so years through our shared political involvement. But you didn't need much more than a day to know Ernie's influence in his community, the way that he, woke up in the morning and went to sleep at night thinking about what he could do, big or small, to help his neighbors. And, in some ways, I benefited from that as a first-time candidate running in my first race in 2018, and learning from him over the years. We didn't overlap on the council, but I think in many ways our priorities aligned in all the important ways, and I think his advocacy through Neon and through getting this new community center built is a fitting reason enough why his name should be a permanent part of it. And so, if there's no further thoughts, I think it is safe to call for a vote to send this on to our colleagues on the council. All in favor of this renaming of the community room at the new South Norwalk Community Center, please say aye or raise your hand. Thank you. I think that's everybody. Okay, on to the last step. Thank you, Mr. Stowers. Thank you to everybody who stewarded this far.
Thank you.
Moving on to the next items, and if it's okay with the committee, I might propose moving items B and C together. They relate to the other public hearings we had tonight. The proposed Eversource easements for electrical service upgrades at Merrimack and at Rowayton School for HVAC IAQ projects. Planning and Zoning Commission for approval in accordance with Connecticut's general statutes, Section 8-24. Is there anybody willing to move these two items together?
I can move
I
on.
will move that we move those two items together and recommend them to the full council to process through for recommendation to complete.
Thank you, Mr. Degenstein. I think they seem pretty straightforward, but does anybody have any questions or comments about them?
I certainly support the HVAC upgrade at Rowayton School, so we don't have any more days canceled because it's too hot.
Here, here. Well, the students might not agree with you. But with that said, if there's no further discussion, I'll call for a vote on items B and C together. All in favor of these Eversource easements, please say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Terrific. Thanks, everybody. On to the new business, starting with item A, review and approve the latest designs prepared by Antonosi and Associates for the indoor renovations and building addition at Westport Avenue Fire Station. And related to that, refer these items to Planning and Zoning Commission in accordance with Connecticut Statute Section 8-24. Will somebody please move this? Thank you, Ms. Edie. I'm gonna say it out loud for the minutes this time. Anything
maybe
we
I
should
just
know more about this, Mr. Yeah, Alan. Go ahead.
Yeah, I will just quickly introduce the item, and then we have the architect here, which is so Lisi, and also Mark Conti from the fire department. He's our partner in this project, I guess. I guess it's really not more than partner. We're doing this for them. So anyway, very quickly, a couple of years ago, there was various concern about the status of that building in terms of operation and maintenance. Not from a operation, not so much as building operations in terms of a condition of the building. And we did some evaluation. The building management department do not maintain or manage that building. But through the Common Council's concern at the time, we were asked, I think it's a little bit of money, I think maybe $100,000, something like that, was set up aside. I forgot how much it was. We were asked, building management department's help fire department to address some of the ongoing repair and maintenance items, which we did. And from that, following that, the city decided to fund $4 million for the expansion and renovation of that building. So, and since then, Mark been working with us, or we've been working with Mark. I think Mark can go into the little bit of the needs and justification of why we need this, and basically it's a renovation and addition of the building. And Paul will go through the design a little bit, and then after that, subject to the committee review and recommendation, we will forward this item to the Planning and Zoning Commission for State Statute 8-24 review required for this project. And currently, we're in the process of construction document phase, I believe, right? And also, we are looking to go to bid. So, Paul, when you do present the item, maybe you can go through the schedule a little bit with us. So, with that, Mark, please help provide some background and history and the strategy behind this project. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. Good evening, committee members. So this project, Station 4, for all of you who are not familiar, it's on Westport Avenue. This is the largest actual fire district in the city, and it's the second busiest district. It has one engine company with one officer and 3 firefighters. What we've proposed to do, this is kind of goes hand in hand with what Alan was saying. The building was built in 1964 and has minimal work done to it since then. So we definitely need to do some major upgrades to the building. While we're doing that, the other thing that's happened in the city as it's grown is we need to get another company over on that into that district to double up the response time in that district. Basically, what we're going to do is right now, our ladder company 1, or truck 1, is at Broad River. That will move over to Station 4. Our rescue company, which is currently at Station 2, our headquarters on Connecticut Avenue, will move over to the Broad River Station. And this will allow more allow more of an even distribution of all of our resources around the city. We'll have 8 people in the station at Station 4, 8 people at Station 1, and then we'll have another 10 people at Station 2, and then that will leave 4 at Station 3 in East Norwalk and Station 5 in South Norwalk. So what this does currently, that district being so big, the second due company at virtually most places in that district, they are an average of 2.5 to 4 minutes behind Engine 4 in any given emergency, which for a fire poses is actually a very long time. And that's what this gives you with a ladder company. This is giving you basically every single firefighting tactic that needs to be carried out can be done with these 2 companies at first. Now with the supporting companies coming, obviously. But where the engine company is mainly responsible for the water, putting the fire out. The truck company is responsible. What they do is ventilation and search and rescue, so that all of this will be started simultaneously. So this is how it works. also with an EMS. It's also one of our second busiest EMS district as well. This allows us, if engine 4 is on a call currently, the second due is coming from either Connecticut Avenue, Broad River, or East Norwalk. Now we have another company in-house that will respond to additional alarms as they occur. So this is sort of a hand in hand. This is really our main goal is to redistribute all of our resources, and this is certainly a great time because we've gone up in calls every single year, pretty much since I've been here for 25 years, actually. So and we haven't really added any staffing, but that station has gotten busier and busier and busier. So even relocating all of our staffing at this point will help us to satisfy all the emergency calls throughout the city instead of just loading up one district, or you know what I mean. Does anybody have any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Conti. Yes, the floor is open. Mr. Bailey.
What's that? That's interesting about the increasing calls on an annual basis. What's driving that?
I think there's definitely more. There's more volume in the city. There's more.
Yeah,
there's more population.
People.
Yeah, there's more population. We have 95. We have Route 15. They're getting busier, so we go on a lot of those calls. It's the city's growing, and the department goes to more calls as a result.
Yeah, is it pretty evenly split in terms of more highway calls on 15 and 95 versus house calls, or is it the highways are driving a lot of the increase?
No, the highways have gone up. The highways have stayed steady. They go up. They've gone up a little bit. It's really more. We go on more EMS calls. We go on more fire calls in the city. There are more people here, so you're going to get more. And we have, and we also go on more gas calls. You have larger buildings. We've definitely increased that where you have, larger apartment buildings. So there are going to be things that happen. There's a lot more, people burning food. There's a lot more, and there's a lot more fire in that sense because, more people around, more things tend to happen, more emergencies will occur. So
thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Freyer.
Thank you, Mark. Thanks very much. Mr. Bailey just made me think of something with emergency calls. The fire department responds to every emergency call in the city and is usually the first on the scene. Are you seeing more emergency calls than actual fires?
So
let me two questions.
Okay.
More emergency calls than fires, obviously that's one, but the other is: have you seen a continual rise in the number of emergency calls that you're called on?
Yeah, it's proportional. Our average is we're about 60 to 65%. Where EMS calls, what I assume you're referring to as emergency calls, would be more EMS calls, and then your 35 to 40% are fire calls, and that can range everything from a structure fire to a motor vehicle accident to elevator rescues, gas emergencies, CO emergencies, any type of special rescue call, forcible entry call, and then assist police department, things like that.
Okay.
So they both have gone. I would say they both have gone up. All in every category. It's sort of just increased. It's just throughout the years.
Right, but on the EMS calls, you also have ambulances coming, and you invariably, I know from experience in the South Norwalk truck is there always before the ambulance gets all the way down to row 8. Is there any particular area or one station that has more ESP or
EMS calls? Yeah. Well, actually, Station 4 has they have one of the most. Station 2 is our busiest district in the center of town, so they will always have the most. But the second most, and it's a very close, is Station 4. And to your point, Station 4, obviously the districts closest to the hospital will get a faster response from an ambulance. Station 4 being a huge district like that, they are definitely arriving on scene, sometimes well before an ambulance, because they are right in that big district. And that's part of their increase too, because that district has grown as well.
Has there been any thought to having a citywide EMT truck or trucks?
Well, all of our firefighters are trained at the EMR to EMT, actually, and a couple paramedics we have level on ours. So we're coming with 4 medically trained firefighters on that.
Yeah, I understand that, and they're really great. They're just phenomenal. Okay, I'm just curious. Thanks.
Thank you.
I had the same questions, James. Thank you. Mr. Dickenshine.
Thank you, Chair Austin. First of all, I wanted to thank the fire department and the courage of its corps. I think you respond with extraordinary bravery, and it can't be said enough. The other aspect of what we're talking about tonight is Firematic, and I wanted to repeat again that every minute counts in a fire, and whatever we can do to reduce the amount of time of response is really important. Then I also wanted to say again what Ms. Laura Sella said before, and ask this, and I have another question also, but ask this of our architect, Mr. Lisi. What is being done, or what has been considered for solar or for air or ground air handling for the interior of the building, for the portion of the building that you're responsible for? I know that a lot of that has to do with what the RFP had to say. You were responding to what the program is. And if it wasn't in the program, I would very strongly urge that the buildings and grounds include this as just part of the basic portion of the program of any improvements or additions or new construction, so that it is fairly considered, since we are trying to be the most sustainable city in the state of Connecticut. And the other question I have has to do with the Americans with Disabilities Act, and I just wanted to confirm that for the work that you're doing in the building, that all required updates have been considered based on the state building code and based on the Americans with Disabilities Act, which is a federal statute and has to do with civil rights. That's the extent of the comments and questions.
Let me start. Paul, if you can go through the drawing first, and we answer those questions as we move forward. But meanwhile, why don't we just go through the layout of the building and what's included? And can you share screen, or Joanne, the building floor plan, and just go through the building first, and then we can get into a little more specific in responding to those questions.
Yeah, I could share the plans. Let's see here. Be able to see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Just go through, take you to the floor plans. About 64 drawings here, so I'll just take you right to the floor plans. This is a one-story building. Existing square footage is about 4,600 square feet, and we're looking to add another 1,700 square feet. The new addition.
Front of the building is to the left.
I'm sorry?
The front of the building is to the left.
Correct, right here. Yeah. There's the apparatus doors apparatus bay doors. The addition will house the kitchen and lounge area as well as a turnout gear space. And the existing building is being renovated. As Mark Conte mentioned, it was built in 1964 and there's been hardly any work done in this building. So we're improving the finishes, upgrading the toilet facilities, showers. There's been more women firefighters now, so that's part of the equation. There's a need for additional space. The dormitory areas are being improved. Energy efficiency is being improved, not only from a mechanical system, but also building envelope. We are considering many different, we have considered different sources, but solar is also on the table. Unfortunately, because of the size, and Alan can expand on this, but the size of this building being it's so small that a power purchase agreement it may not be practical for it. But we are still investigating other systems such as geothermal and that sort of thing. Again, being the building is so small and the scope of this project is fairly limited, the initial upfront cost of systems like that would just not be practical for a building of this type and a project of this type. To answer your question regarding handicap accessibility, we are providing a handicap accessible ramp. That's a new ramp that we are providing to get you into the building and be able to access the entire area. The apparatus bays can be accessed from grade level. So you have the main area fully accessible. The toilet facilities are being upgraded, with grab bars and providing proper clearances. Same with the kitchen, and all the areas are being made accessible.
And you're considering alarms and signage as well, I take it.
Absolutely, yes. I don't know if Alan, you want to expand on any of that?
Yeah, since you start talking about solar, we typically do our school projects and other building with a power purchase agreement. So what it means is that we do not put capital budget money into it, but we lease the system. The reason being we lease the system is basically a solar developer will come in, put in the system on a city building, and we'll pay money to them based on the electricity it generates. Part of the reason is because traditionally the city we're not able to get tax credit. A private solar company could get tax credit, which is depending on the situation, is either 30 or 40% of the cost of the project itself. And then the company will go out and also get a utility company incentive, combination of two revenue source plus their own debt service, borrowing money for the balance of the construction costs. They would develop a proposal to the city to determine how much we pay per kilowatt hours. So therefore, generally speaking, all our capital projects do not have a capital line item for solar installation. It's traditionally, always been the ability to have the private sector turnkey development of solar. It's a solution, and those agreements called power purchase agreement. It's typically 20 years. So for this project, the current budget is $4 million, and again, there's never been a line item for solar construction in here. Recently, I reached out to Vergy, who's our approved solar developer, turnkey developer. They had come back to me and told me that this building, because of the size of the building and the amount of panel they can potentially put on this building, it's not large enough to go through a power purchase agreement. So, but they have made some suggestion to us, and I asked Joanne to look into this other option to implement it. So I don't know where we are with it, but at the same time, we are looking at other options similar to a residential house in terms of the amount of panel that we can incorporate into this building. So the new addition is actually designed to be able to physically structurally support a system. So we are preparing for it. And at the same time, it's just figure a way to finance it is our next challenge. Because again, the traditional method of doing it is not available because the size of this building is not substantial enough to go through the process of tax credit and a power purchase agreement. So again, there's a suggestion that we received already, and Joanne is looking into to see what may work for this building. That's where you are. And also, I just want to mention that this building, we are actually not replacing the old mechanical system. Well, you know what, Paul? Paul's office and his mechanical engineer has developed a little analysis report kind of thing. Without going to the very specific, it talks about what the new things that they put in is energy efficient and all that stuff. But at the same time is that we're not even replacing the boiler. I think the boiler is reasonably new. So we're not changing the mechanical HVAC system, but we are adding air conditioning and those equipment, all energy efficient equipment and all that. The new building will be insulated to the meeting all the energy code. I don't know, Paul,
New
anything you
windows.
want? Go ahead.
New energy efficient windows as well.
Yeah. So
LED lighting.
So we are continuing to look at what other means to implement solar on this building. So that's ongoing. But at the same time, it's the traditional method of doing this that we have when we do all school project. It's not available to us because the size of the building is smaller.
Thank you, Paul and Alan. I'm going to go to Mr. Lopez.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, gentlemen. Quick question. What about exploring a PPP with some of like the local other buildings in like the around this building? And second, I thought tax credits were still available till July 2026. I could be misinformed, but just those two questions that I have.
Yeah. What happened is, as far as I know, there's for the PPA perspective, I don't know whether the rest. I mean, I know the company that does residential market, right? Do individual houses kind of thing. The company we deal with is for larger project, larger system. As far as I understand from those conversations, is that traditionally the city as a municipality doesn't get tax credit, but then with the Biden administration, the rules have changed, and then the cities are able to get tax credit. But the Trump administration has changed that recently. So is that what you're referring to? That's still available to June? I didn't realize that. I thought they eliminated it completely already.
Yeah, I think something along those lines.
Okay.
Which I can also go back and I can follow up with you as well, Alan. But yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, we again we are going to look at all the available options. I know we can still do private sector similar to what a residential program would be kind of thing. But we're looking into it because again it's not the standard way we implement this. So we got to figure out how else we can do this.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Johan. Thank you, Alan. Ms. Edie.
Thank you, Chair. I can't see too good on the side here. Sorry. Thank you, Mr. Lowe. I was going to repeat that. Could we please explore? I know we can do it on houses, and since this is a smaller venue, we could really try hard to get the solar on this. Just wanted to say I'm grateful for Mr. Conti being here and the work that he and his department does. I appreciate it very much. I'm very much in favor of improving this fire station. Also, Mr. Lowe, you just said there was a list. I think you said there was a list, but if it's not, could we get the list of all the efficiency things that have been done in the building. That might be helpful as well. Okay, and I think that was it. But
Thank you, Nicole.
But really try to get that solar compared to the house on the roof. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'll give you a shout on Nicole, because I've
Okay.
been looking up some different things, but would love to
Okay.
pick your brain. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you all, and I will also offer my appreciation for the work that goes into it. I know that for every single project, as Alan others have shared, every single effort is made to look into opportunities to add solar and other kinds of renewable energy and different kinds of efficiencies. So it's great for us to kind of keep those reminders going. But I know that that has been and continues to be a #1 priority for each of these projects. So I appreciate that. Are there any other comments or questions on this particular item? All right. I think the motion has been made, so if there's no further discussion, I will go ahead and call for a vote on this item. The designs prepared by Antonelli Associates for renovations to the Westport Avenue Fire Station and the recommendation to the Planning and Zoning Commission. All in favor, please say aye or raise your hand. That is unanimous. Thanks, everybody. Moving right. Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Conti,
you
for
very
your
much. Thank you
Yes.
very much for your
Thank
support.
Okay, moving right along to item B. Approve David Scott Parker Architects as the sole source vendor for the research and design of the repairs needed at the Lockwood Matthews Mansion Conservatory, which is in danger of collapse. Sounds ominous. I see we have some friends from the conservatory here, so maybe I can invite, is it Mr. Westmoreland? Do you want to kick us off?
Sure. Doug Hempstead, the president of the mansion, is also here. I'm David Westmoreland. I'm on the historical commission. I think most of you have seen this already, as we did the special appropriation through the council in late February to advance funds to get this project started. The conservatory is the glass greenhouse attached to the front of the mansion. It has 3 vertical members, big support beams that have been rotting from between the glass and the wood. We couldn't see the rot happening, and unfortunately they're in bad shape. And there's 2 horizontal support beams also that are experiencing the same thing. So we've put in temporary measures to shore it up. However, it's not going to be, it's not a long-term solution for it. We are looking to replace the conservatory back to what it was originally. The structure that's there now was put there in the early 70s after a tree fell on the original structure. Obviously we've had numbers of problems with it over the years. This particular item is to hire the mansion's architect, David Scott Parker and Associates of Southport, Connecticut. They have been the mansion's architect since 2009, since we went through an RFQ process to develop a master plan for the building that we have been implementing ever since. They're very knowledgeable of the building. The building is, it's a one-off. It's very unique, constructed in 1867. Because of their knowledge and not having to reinvent the wheel and training another architect, we are asking to sole source that. There's an attached proposal, which they're estimating $50,000 in design fees and reimbursable expenses of up to $5,000 that will come from the account that was approved by the council on 2/24/26, which has a balance of $275,000. Is Doug still on? Doug, do you want to add anything? Doug, you're on mute.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I got a unstable
internet going on here. Yeah, I mean, I hope it's part of the process of trying to get what was originally put back into the mansion, and it is unstable. We're going, at least now we're heading into the summer months. We're not worried about a snow load or other things that can go wrong in there. And then we also have a sprinkler system now in that room. So the more we can get done ahead of time, the better. I'm not sure where you left off, David. I heard you explaining about when it happened.
Yep.
But
Yep.
oh, we're hoping for the support. We want to move forward with this sooner versus later. Because it is, you know, it's going to be disruptive for a while because we have to shut that whole area off and secure it from the outside also. But going to take some doing. So I hope you can, I know it's a tough year. I hope you can support it very much so. And I'm sorry. And if you don't mind, just a little sidebar. I was across the room, couldn't get there close enough. I think there was a very nice thing what you've done for Ernie Dumas and recognizing him. I worked with Ernie a lot over the years, sat on the council with him also. And he was Mr. Nowak, you know, one of those people who gave from his heart, and that's what counted. Sorry, I digress.
Can we answer any questions?
I think you can start with Mr. Degenshine. Unmute yourself, Jan.
Thank you, Mr. Westmoreland and Mr. Hempstead, David and Doug. I really appreciate the work that you're putting into this. Based on the scope of the work, I think that the fee that has been proposed is a very fair fee. I also think that this should move ahead as quickly as possible because we don't want any further failure. It just will increase the cost to the repairs. I think that the mansion is an asset to the community, and we should do what we can to prepare it as such. I would like to see this move along as quickly as possible. The architect seems to be familiar with and has already passed muster with its qualifications. So I have no objection to it. I just had one question, and that is to get to the conservatory, is there an accessible pathway? And if not, has that been considered in the proposed modifications and corrections?
Yes, it's actually going to be a much easier project than the project where we just finished, where we had to literally tear the whole mansion up, because it's on one end of the library. It's the next to the front entrance. There is a road that goes right by it. It also has an outdoor. It has an egress door to the outside, and then we can close it off from the library. It's an extension of the library. It has two big sliding doors that we can close and seal off, so that we can, isolate it from the rest of the mansion. We can access it from the outside without having to go in through the mansion and mess up, a lot of the work we've already done. So it's actually, of the projects that we've done on the mansion, that I think in terms of accessibility, this is probably the easiest we're ever going to have. So as long as it doesn't fall down first. So.
Right. And
thank you.
And I'm sorry, I missed part of David's conversations. David Scott Parker, who I've been working with for the last few years, especially the last 3 years since we started the construction, is not only the most logical one in the sense that they've had such a long history with the building, but are also very passionate about the building on a separate level and have provided us guidance on certain things, which has never ever charged us for. So even though I've been on your shoes where these sole sources come up in my days on the council, usually it made sense when it that you had somebody that was more familiar than anybody else versus somebody coming in starting from scratch. You pick up time, and time is money.
Thanks, Doug. Alan?
Yeah, very quickly. Just for the new council members, the city and Lockwood Matthews Mansion and the state of Connecticut has recently completed the infrastructure improvement to the Lockwood Matthews Mansion. The total expenditure, I think, is about $16 million. About half of it came from the state, and half is actually city money. I think for this committee, traditionally, occasionally, when we have a new council, there are times in old days when we meet in person, sometimes we actually schedule our meeting at locations, and we actually done couple of occasionally we would actually meet at the Lockwood Matthew Mansion or any of the city facilities so that member of the council can actually see the building and you know and understand what some of the requests are based on kind of thing. So this committee, a member of the as well as the rest of the common council, if there's interest, we can schedule something and we can have a regular meeting there. We'll figure out how it works and doesn't work kind of thing. But just to go through a building so people that never been to Lockwood Matthew Mansion have the opportunity to actually see you know what the building looks like and some of the importance of that building to the history of Norwalk as a community. So if there's interest, we can schedule that in sometime in the future.
Please, please come early and we'll set you up a tour, you know, and we have Zoom capabilities and all that now with all the infrastructure improvements. Before we didn't have much of anything. So please, love to have you.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah,
Joanne, maybe I can
great.
reach out to you about scheduling that, and I'll you know kind of work with my colleagues on the council for the best time and date, or it could just be the next one of our upcoming meetings.
Yeah.
Cool. I just had one question, and I know the account number is not noted in the agenda, but it's in the backup. And David, you said there's about $275,000 left in that account,
Yes.
which will cover these architectural plans, obviously. But is there a sense of how much more would be needed to actually execute the repairs?
We currently have a request of 1.25 million in the capital budget for 26-27 that's under consideration. We think it's somewhere in that range. We you know we'll obviously have a better idea once we go through this this next portion of the project to have a better estimate. But we think it's in that range, and we you know we've been budgeting for it in the next capital budget that's been recommended by the mayor. So
Terrific. And Jim, you may know, where is that capital budget right now?
Well, funny thing you should bring that up. We did discuss that item yesterday, as a matter of fact, and the mayor had put some additional, I think an additional 250,000 in, and what with the 250 that we have now, and David confirmed that we can live with $1,250,000 in the budget. So we've got $1,250,000 that's sitting in the budget right now in the capital budget, which everybody on the committee I think was in favor of and looked at it approvingly. So we'll approve that budget. The committee will approve that budget tomorrow evening, and then it'll go to the full council, I think later in the month.
Thank you.
We only approved it because David was so convincing and so sure of himself that we could put it in.
they're just tired of hearing me.
Never. No, seriously, we take it very seriously, and this is a real serious thing. And I think the finance committee touched on this just recently as well, so that we know that we have the 275,000 now for this year. And so we were able to reduce the ask for next year down to a little bit more reasonable amount. So it works out very well for everybody.
And
Perfect.
if there are any other questions, Colin, can I ask a question? And this may be for Alan. In addition to approving David Scott Parker as the sole source, does the agreement, the fee proposal, does that need to be approved by the council?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Let me take that back. How much are we talking about?
$55,000.
It does not. The council has passed recently the ordinance about a year ago that anything under $100,000 does not need common council approval. So for about $50,000. Typically, we don't. I need to look at a little bit more with Sharon Connors, our purchasing agent. Sometimes the reason why we would go through a council, we probably, I would say 95% chance that it does not have to come back to the council for approving the architect. There are times that there's two ways we can secure somebody to do services. One could be a purchase order. The other one is a contract. For design services, sometimes we require a contract. I need to look into it a little bit more. But again, most likely we do not have to come back to Common Council because the statute allows us to administratively approve something. But we'll probably still need a contract. I believe the mayor would be able to sign it without council action on this.
Okay, so after assuming that this is approved tonight, the next action would just be for you to work this out. And
I think we can work it out. I mean, again, it's a little complicated, so I don't want to confuse you any more than we need to. But at the same time, we have to go through this little bit of internal analysis to see if there's any reason why we need to go to council. For a dollar amount, we do not typically have to go to Common Council. But because there's design liabilities and things like that, I need to think about it a little bit more. But
okay,
it's a aerial mission policy, insurance policy kind of stuff that I need to think about a little bit.
Okay.
If those items are under $100,000 and over 25,000, it's reviewed by the finance committee, though.
Either way, doesn't the sole source procurement need council approval?
Yes, sole source to go to the Common Council. That's why it's here.
But if it's under $100,000, it doesn't have to go to the full council, then just approved by the finance committee.
I'm not so sure that's true, but okay.
The reason I ask is, wouldn't it just make sense if we're sending the sole source request to the council to just add the dollar amount to it to the same item? They don't separate it, do they?
I think we've got, we're very much in favor of this from what I can gather. So I don't think it's going to be a problem, but further reinforcement that we have is that this is an emergency. So we don't want to go through a procurement RFP.
But I think the money is already in the account.
Yeah.
It's been approved.
Yeah, all these things are true. I'm just saying attach the dollar amount and the account number.
Yeah. I don't think it means it. Yeah. I think it's worthwhile. Yeah.
This is what I'll do. Council meeting is actually in 2 weeks. So before that, I will go do a little research and figure it out, and I'll do what's necessary in terms of either we add more language to it, or I will let you know that based on all the city ordinance that and a conversation with the purchasing department, what our recommendation is and whether we need any additional language in our action or not. I will follow through and email everybody on the committee. So if any changes from what's in front of you tonight, I will advise the committee through email, and we'll have that language. If there's additional language needed, I will put it on the agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Lowe.
Sounds good to me.
I do have the account number. If I can read that off for you for the record, if you want, if it's necessary.
It's in the backup. We have it, David. It's just not on the agenda.
Okay.
I'll figure it out.
All right.
But it does sound like we are in general agreement. So I don't think we actually moved this item. If somebody would like to make a motion. Mr. Degenshine, is there any further comments or questions or discussion? All right. Hearing none, I will call for a vote. All in favor, please raise your hand. And that's everybody. Well, thank you to
thank you,
David and Doug and others for responding quickly to this, and thank you to Alan for getting us clarity on exactly what approval is needed at the next step.
Great. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
I also want to just give a special thanks to Neil Rennie and Joanne and Acquarulo. I don't want to say your name wrong. Anyway, for helping me muddle through this process. And of course, Alan is always great. So thank you so much. We appreciate your time.
I think I owe you $10.
Probably more than that.
All-star team. Thank you, everybody.
Good night.
Okay. We're motoring right along to item C. Number one, authorize Mayor Barbara C. Smith to execute an agreement with AVD Excavator LLC for the Police Headquarters Plaza Restoration Project for a total not to exceed $223,000 of the account noted. And two, authorize a contingency allowance for a total not to exceed $22,300 of the account noted. I know there was a question brought up about this during public comments, so I wanted to just open it up to Alan or others to give us a little bit of background on this plaza.
I can speak. It's Neil Rennie,
you,
Building
Neil.
Management. I can speak to this and to Diana Loricella's issue. So the sidewalk, the plaza for the police department.
Just to pause you, I'm sorry, Neil. Miss Edie.
Sorry, do we need to move the item?
We will at some point. Yeah, but we can move it now.
Yeah.
Do you want to move it?
Yeah, I'll move it.
Okay. The item is moved.
She just wants to get her name in the minutes again.
Clearly. It's a race.
Wants that attention.
Yeah, because I'm gonna move the next item too.
So pushy, so pushy.
No.
See what's
I
going
thought
on
we had
here.
to move it before we start talking about it. Anyway, sorry.
All good. Thanks for keeping us on track. Okay, sorry about that. Neil, go ahead.
So what I was saying, responding to the earlier question, this is a safety issue. We've had a couple incidents out on the plaza. The concrete that's out there is 20 years old. It's deteriorated. There's a lot of spalling. We patched it probably 3 or 4 times over the years. It's originally colored concrete. We're not going back in with colored concrete. We're going to go with regular colored concrete and do the new brick detail around the perimeter. Any questions?
Yeah. Open the floor to any questions or comments. Mr. Degenshine.
Just one quick question. Do you have the price per square foot based on the size of the plaza and sidewalk?
I would have to get that for you. I'd have to do a takeoff off the drawing for you.
Okay. If you wouldn't mind, thank you.
You're quite welcome.
Thank you. And I suppose related to that, because there was a question about the costs that was raised, having a per square foot framing is helpful. And I think it's also helpful to, if we can, quantify the risk of those safety issues, whether it, from an insurance standpoint or, obviously for physical safety. Because I think sometimes we see these tags and we say, "Gosh, that's money that we could be spending elsewhere." And it might be helpful to understand what the cost might be if we don't take corrective action. So if that's possible to give a broad sense of as well, Neil, that might be helpful.
Yeah, so the plaza is a safety risk, not only to the police officers and their staff, but there's a large amount of traffic on a daily basis that goes across that plaza. And again, I believe we have a couple incidents that resulted in injury over there. So, and we do our very best to fill in any missing bricks or where it's spalled. We actually just went through a little patching earlier on, so we don't have any incidents until we get it replaced.
Yeah, that's helpful. And I think should we forward this to our colleagues on the council? Hearing you reference a couple incidents that happened, if we can get sort of slightly more specific details on what those entailed, that might help answer those questions.
That would reside. I think it resides with risk management, Craig Schmidt right now. We can see if we can get that for you.
Thank you. Sorry, Alan, I think you were going to say, yep.
Yeah, very quickly. I know you're asking about cost per square foot. It's so Neil is going to get a number to the committee. I think it's important to, when you see a number, this number is going to be different from what you may for your house if you do want to do a concrete sidewalk in front of your house. When we do this project, we got to pay for demolition of existing sidewalk. When we hire a contractor, there's a bidding process. There's also bond requirements, and there's a 100% performance bond required. There's state wages involved. So if you're looking at, you have somebody that can do concrete sidewalks less than what we can do, it's not unusual because again, we have many requirements in terms of, again, bonding requirements, state wages requirements, and all that stuff. As well as they got to pay for demolition of existing sidewalk. And when we do pavers, we usually put a concrete base underneath the paver, so there's no settlement. So that's an expensive item. That's probably over $20 a square foot because depending I don't even know what the design is here. So just when we do give you a number, if you want to look into more, just give us a call. We can go through it together. We go through a public bidding process, and I'm not trying to defend anything. I just want to clarify. So it's not such a simple number that you look at it and say, geez, I can get this, I can get somebody to do this for much less. Yes, but in a different situation. So I just want to be notify you that the number is going to be higher than what you think that you typically see in a private market when a homeowner try to do a sidewalk in front of the house. So just wanted to be aware.
Thank you for that, Mr. Lowe. You don't have to apologize or be defensive about it either. I know that even after the demolition is done, you have to stabilize the base. There's more reinforcing in the underlayment concrete. I just want to be able to have an answer to our constituents and be able to explain it to them much the same way that you've done tonight.
Sure.
Thank you.
Terrific. Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Well, the item has been moved. Are folks comfortable taking a vote on it tonight for the council meeting in 2 weeks, or do we think we need more information based on the questions tonight? Mr. Lopez.
Thanks, Chair. Could we pass it contingent upon receiving that, the additional for information that was requested, but I think some of the council members here, I think Jan just requested.
I think we can do that. Sure.
I don't know how everyone else feels. Just
well, we would be looking at it with our colleagues at the council anyway, so we would get an opportunity to get more information. But yes, I think to Mr. Degenstein's point, those kinds of talking points are helpful when folks have, pretty legitimate questions about these kinds of expenditures. They may seem high relative to other things, to opportunity costs, but it's also helpful to understand what the cost of not doing it could be in terms of liability and injury. Mr. Freyer.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I don't find anything wrong with the questions asked, but on the other hand, I have a lot of faith in the department that Alan's running, and particularly Neil's level of concern about how we're constructing these things, and it's not like this is something unique and never been done before. So I have no problem with moving this forward. And if Jan wants some more information on it, that I think that's fine. Get them the more information, the better. But I think we've seen this before, and I've got faith in what has been explained is going to happen.
I don't think there's any need to have this contingent upon the information. This is just for our future use. We're first on the firing line, and it's just good to have that information.
All right. Yes, I think, Jim, it's because we have that faith in the work of these folks that we know we can ask these questions and get good answers. So if there's no further questions or discussion, it has been moved. Thanks, Ms. Edie. I'm going to call for a vote. All in favor, please say aye or raise your hand. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Neil and Alan. And we'll address this at the council meeting. And we will move on to item D. 1, authorize the Mayor Barbara C. Smith to execute an agreement with A Preferred Construction LLC for the South Norwalk Library roof replacement project for a total not to exceed $140,875. Funds available from the accounts noted. And 2, authorize the Office of Building Management to issue change orders on the agreement for a total not to exceed $14,087.50 from the accounts noted. Should we move this first and then discuss? Would somebody like to move this? That's a Degenshine. Alan, this was also raised in public comment tonight. Do you want to shed any more insight into the solar panel on the South Norwalk School roof?
I think maybe I just talk too much sometimes, so maybe Neil, maybe Neil can go through.
Oh yes, okay, yeah. Go ahead,
His
Neil.
perspective on it, kind of thing, because it sounds like it's having a different opinion. It's always a good thing, kind of thing, you know. I'm not trying to throw this at Neil, but you know,
This roof is a small roof and it's a few different elevations. So solar panels probably don't work. It's also unique. It has unique curves to it, and it has limited space to get to mechanical equipment. So solar panels on this roof would be very difficult to the operation. And to go further on the roofing material, it's 20 years. This roof has been plagued with issues for many years. I've been with the city for 7.5 years. Prior to my coming on board, we've always had some leaks. It's an active roof, and what I mean by an active roof, where there's people on and off this roof to get to mechanical equipment quite often, which can add to the wear and tear. We hope to put some traffic pads down to alleviate any type of risk of puncture to the surface, which we don't have at the very moment. So again, we've had multiple leaks over there in the community room down to the first floor of the library. So we're looking to clean this up and give ourselves a fresh start over there, and hopefully keep this going for another 20 years.
Thanks, Neil. I see some hands, potential questions. We'll start with Mr. Degenshine.
Thank you. I respect the concerns of our constituents. I also want to acknowledge and put on the record that there are roofs that just are not the most appropriate. And there have been a couple of items that on this particular roof that indicate that it might not be worthwhile. Just because a roof is being replaced doesn't mean that its structure is capable of carrying solar. It is adding to the dead load of the building. It does add to the additional electrical cost and power requirements and moisture protection of the building as well. And I don't know the exact disposition of the roof, but if there's any rooftop equipment, that may even make more of a challenge of putting solar on the roof. I also know that it's an inner city space, and there's very little ground area around the roof, around the building in which to put solar. So I would expect that these things have been considered by this time.
That's correct.
Thank you, Jan. Ms. Edie?
Thank you, Chair. I had a question, maybe a couple of questions, kind of like in two parts, Mr. Neal and Mr. Lowe. I noticed that the bid came in awfully way lower than the other bids. So I'm really curious. I'm sure you've done your due diligence with everything, but I am just curious, is there something that they're not doing that the other vendors are doing, or is there anything like I don't understand why
we don't think so. So typically what we do when we see, obviously we're taking the lowest bidder in most cases. We do a scope review with each with the vendor And we go over exactly those concerns. Do we have everything captured? We believe we have everything captured. We also have experience with this vendor at several other buildings, so we're confident we can get this accomplished at the lower rate.
No, that's fine. I'm kind of familiar with the vendor too, but I just didn't
No,
want
it's always a concern of ours.
yeah,
Absolutely.
like
Yeah.
something, they go. So, and if you were to go past the contingency amount, you would have to come back to us for
It-
approval.
Yeah, I don't anticipate, unless there was something other than the roof if we found something below that was an issue unforeseen. But as it relates to the roof, we don't see any unforeseen issues that would make this come back.
Okay, no problem. I just wanted to ask. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, knock on wood when you say stuff like that. Unforeseen. Great. Any other questions or discussion on this item? Hearing none, I will call for a vote for this new roof at our South Norwalk Library. All in favor, please say aye or raise your hand. Okay. Mr. Bailey, are you abstaining? Okay. Great. We'll send that on to the council, and thank you again, Neil.
Thank you, Neil.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too. Thank you. This will take us to item E on the agenda, which is a three-part item. One's to rescind council action from November 17th, 2025, items 7D, 6A, and B, as noted here. And two, to authorize the Mayor, Barbara C. Smith, to execute an agreement with Silver Petroleum Associates to provide design services for the Calf Pasture Beach Camp Facility renovation project for a total not to exceed $89,000 with the account noted. And to have a contingency for that project for a total not to exceed $8,900 at the account noted. Would someone like to move this item? Mr. Dagenshine. All right, it's a race.
And Joanne's going to speak on it.
Thanks, Alan. Joanne's finding the unmute. It's different on the phone.
Still muted. Joanne is still muted.
I think she's trying to figure it out. It can be a little tricky on the phone.
I got it.
There we go. Okay.
Sorry. Yeah, my computer literally died at the beginning of our meeting, so hence why I'm on my phone. I'm sorry. Yes, we the Calf Pasture Beach project, it's for the outdoor area and for the camp, for summer camp. And we did, and I think it was before you all were on the committee, but we did move forward with the O'Riordan Megani architects, but it just didn't work out with the legal department. They had some issues and whatnot, so we had to rescind the offer, and we went with another vendor that we have worked with in many occasions. And that is just the new price, which actually is less than the previous. So we just want to get that we wanted to get that moving because we're a little behind now in the project. So we want to get back on track.
Thanks, Joanne.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry about your computer.
Oh, yeah. I've been trying to force it to shut down. I'm trying.
Well, it's about $30,000 in savings. That's good. Does that mean anything about the existing plans have changed, or are these
No.
vendors just that much
That
cheaper?
was just for their design fees, really.
Okay.
So there's still a lot to come from now until we actually have drawings and whatnot. So
I thought very quickly. I didn't mean to confuse everybody, but what happens rescind our previous action need to go through Common Council because the
Mhm.
original proposal is over $100,000. That's why I went
Yes.
to Common Council for approval. So when we do that proposed agreement didn't work out with that company, so we have to rescind the action. Technically, we do not have to send the Silver Petroselli's proposal to the council for approval because under $100,000. But for clarity, I put it on so that the council is fully aware that we canceled that one. We're going to a different company, and this is the company. But technically, we do not have to go to Common Council because the dollar amount is less than 100,000. So again, life is never perfect. It's just confusing a little bit. So this is a situation that we are sending it through because, again, it's just clarity. But then we confuse people.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
could be ironic.
No, I think more clarity is better. I appreciate that,
Yeah.
Alan. Jan?
Thank you, Chair Austin, and thank you for the clarification, Alan. We've, by demonstration tonight, there are 3 small projects, none of which would support the typical solar contracting that we would do. And I'm wondering if there's some way in considering what we can do, if we can bundle smaller projects so that they would become more cost effective and more competitive for future projects.
As for this project in particular, it won't be a hard structure. It's more for a summer camp.
Yes.
So I at this point that wasn't part of the plan because of that. But obviously if it becomes a more permanent structure, we can certainly look at that. But
thank you.
At this point, no.
I was just thinking of it as a general concept.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I have some feelers out there. I have to get some specifications as far as the fire station. I'm waiting, I need to get some more information from the architects to be able to give to certain companies and corporations because I need to know all of those electrical loads, et cetera, to be able to share that information. And they weren't quite ready to share that information yet because they were still in their evaluation stage.
Much appreciated.
Of course.
Jan, Miss Edie?
Thank you, Chair. Just real quick, I'm Joanne. I was thinking there was a structure. So the kitties are out unprotected from the sun?
Yeah. Right now there's kind of like a diamond like canopy.
Pavilion.
Yeah, it doesn't cover the entire space. So they really need, a space to go when it's really, really hot and raining. And part of the project is to renovate a bathroom for 2 bathrooms, but other than that it's an open air area, and I'm just learning the names and parts of the beach as well. And if you're in the parking lot, there's a big mural on the side of the building. It's that area right near there. It's not the concession stand area. It's more to the left, towards near the road, really.
Wow.
Yeah.
That used to be the traditional bathhouse, back in the 40s and 50s, and when folks go to the beach, there's a changing area and shower. That's what it used to be.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, I'm hoping we can get something else for the children.
Yes. Yes. Apparently the recreation, their program, it was growing very quickly, faster than they had planned. And so they really, part of their capital projects from last year was to put forth money to do this.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Well, sounds like we are in motion and we're switching vendors at this point. So I don't know if there's any further questions. Seeing none, I'll go ahead and call for a vote. All in favor of this rescinding and approving, say aye, raise your hand. And that's everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, almost there. Item F is to approve the increased change order contingency allowance in the additional amount of $742,000, 720 and 39 cents with Newfield Construction for the South Norwalk School construction project for the purpose of installation of a design or built rooftop photovoltaic system, account number noted here. And so we're getting some solar panels. This is an increase of that contingency, Alan?
Yeah, do you want to move the item first, or?
Would someone like to move the item first? Miss Edie, thank you.
There she is. There she is. She's ready.
She can't complain that her name comes up next time. All right. Before I start actually going to the specific of this project, I just want just for the for the committee members, I just want to say that, you know, in the event that you hear, I don't know whether that you know that we're not doing the right thing kind of thing. I really do try to do the right thing in terms of solar for the community. In fact, for this project, I'm the one that came up with the idea that to do a ground-mounted system on top of the back of the property, and which I presented to the Planning and Zoning Commission for their consideration. And there's a whole long debate about whether want to maintain open space versus using it for a ground-mounted solar system. So the concept of this dual rooftop system and ground-mounted system is actually my idea. And I spent a year and a half trying to work with SNU to develop it. So it wasn't like a casual conversation. It was very in-depth conversation. And in fact, SNU was very interested in it because there's limited ability for SNU to be an urban location, a municipal utility company. They don't have a lot of opportunity to do, green energy, because usually you need surface, you need property, and you need rooftop, and you need ground land. But being in South Norwalk, those opportunities not available. So they were very interested. But for a number of, I won't go into this, but for a number of reasons, we worked, me and the Second Taxing District and SNU, we spent an year and a half working on to find a joint venture possibility to do this. So if you hear that we're not doing it, I don't think we should take that position that we're not interested. I think we are very interested. We actually put a lot of energy. We put a lot of effort into doing this, and it didn't materialize. It's not because we didn't try, but at the end of the day, you can see these old memos I wrote, and I look at options. Even that the relationship working with SNU didn't work out. I promised the city and the council that I would seek other ways to do this, and I seek the other way, and also I came up and I go through the whole process, the state process, which is a very lengthy process, to get their buy-in so that we can actually do as a capital project instead of a power purchase agreement. So what's in front of you today is our alternative way to get this done. So again, and don't get me wrong, I'm not being rude or anything. Don't take it lightly. There's a lot of effort behind the scene that you folks don't see, and a lot of challenges we have to go through financially as well as strategies and stuff like that to get to this point. So we are able to go out to bid, and I actually obtained state approval so that this system that we put in, it gets 60% reimbursement as part of the project. The reason why we're able to do that is because we're able to come in below our budget number for South Norwalk School with the state approved project. So we have some financial room in our construction project to absorb the $780,000, whatever it is, kind of thing. So we are moving forward with this, and we went out to bid for our Newfield Construction, who's our construction manager, and we are ready to go forward with this, subject to committee approval tonight and council approval. What you're doing, approving, is actually increase our contingency amount so that we can do a change order in the Newfield to implement this project. So we are looking, depending on delivery time for the panels, we are looking to try to do this summer. So which worked out really well. And the building, based on the last 6 months of electrical usage, we are projecting the annual kilowatt hour that we use is about 750 to 800,000 kilowatt hour kind of thing. This to January, I forgot what I said in the memo. It's about 300 somewhat kind of thing. It's a little less. It's about 40 to 45% of electrical consumption of the building, which is pretty good. I think one thing that we want to recognize is that for urban city, when you're looking at a building that could potentially in the suburbs of Connecticut kind of thing, when you do a building that's 80,000 square feet on one level, you have a lot of rooftop areas. You got 80,000 square feet of rooftop. For us, we're a 2-story building, like Norwalk High School, a 3-story building. Our available square footage, only 1/3 of what another building would be in the suburbs. So the ability to generate like 100% electricity, it's just not going to happen in urban area for a rooftop system, because bottom line is that our square footage on a building footprint is depends on 2-story building is half of what the building is, and potentially is 3-story building or 4-story like Norwalk High School. We're only a third or quarter of the footage that we have available to do solar panel. So it's not such a simple thing as that, well, we could do more kind of thing. We are limited, but physically, because we're an urban city. So I think when we look at these things, I think we got to put proper perspective on our ability, how much we can do. It's not like we are negligent in any way. It's just there are physical limitations of what we can and cannot do. So with that, I want to stop. But bottom line, what's in front of it, it's actually about 2 to 3 years of effort to come up with this compromise, financial as well as implementation strategy, and working with the state, working with Stu to come up with this final solution. And we're able to put in solar panel on South Norwalk School. I believe there is somewhere in the social media that there was criticism about we're not doing it, but by all means, we are doing it, and that's what's in front of you tonight. So I just want to make that very clear. I may sound a little aggressive because you just took a lot of hard work, and I just don't think it's fair for the public to criticize the city, myself, and for lack of our effort in doing this. We are doing it. So I thank you for your patience with this.
Thank you, Alan. You don't sound frustrated at all.
I sound frustrated, right?
No. I meant that earnestly. It sounded sarcastic. You don't sound it, and I think everybody really appreciates the work. I could say a lot about social media, but I won't. I'll go to questions. Mr. Degenshine.
Thank you, Chair. Just one other comment. Again, to commend you on your creative approach to this, Alan, to come up with a solution that engages both ground and rooftop solar. The other question that I had is, should we change the language of our request for approval to call for a combination rooftop and ground array of solar panels, rather than just describe it as rooftop?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. We're not doing the ground mounted system
at all.
It's only the rooftop.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the ground mounted system will combine the ground mounted and rooftop will generate, I think, 1.2 million kilowatt hour per year. We couldn't do that because it's very complicated. It takes me about half an hour more to actually explain all the technical and financial and regulatory relationship or challenges. They're more than challenges, prohibitions that we could not do it. We could not do a ground mount system because when we generate electricity with a ground mount system, we need to send it directly to the grid. See, when we do a rooftop system, we use the energy in the building. But because the ground mount system, we generate so much electricity, we got to send it back to the grid. SNU, South Norwalk Electric Works, because the municipal utility company, there's 6 of them in the state. The way the deregulation is set up, those six municipal electrical company are exempt from deregulation. So we cannot buy power from a third party. It's a long conversation. The bottom line is what's in front of you. It's just a rooftop system. It has nothing to do with ground mount. And if we want to do a ground mount, SNU had to do it, and we can't do it ourselves because there's legal.
This will be entirely rooftop then.
Right, that's it.
Okay, I misunderstood. I apologize.
Oh.
Thanks, Jan. Mr. Lopez.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Alan. Quick question. So can you remind me again why the project, it went from potentially covering all of the school's energy needs to only about 40%?
40% electric.
40, okay.
Okay,
And
so it's again, there's many through the years I talk about it at these committee meeting kind of thing. We are generally speaking 80%. The buildings nowadays, when we design the buildings nowadays, we are generally speaking about 80% electric buildings. The reason why we still have 20% of natural gas is because for spaces like gyms and cafeteria and auditorium and stuff, those are large spaces. It's very difficult to be energy. I'm not sure I'm using the right word here. It's very difficult to get electrical operating equipment to run large spaces. Think about it. It's like gas produced BTUs, and you can burn harder and all and more efficient in running large spaces with gas-fired equipment than you use electric resistance to heat up a large space. So the engineering firms nowadays, what they look at large spaces, again, like cafeterias and gyms and stuff, they will continue to use gas-fired equipment to produce the BTU that can heat up the space more appropriately than smaller electrical unit to cover large spaces, So I think the reason why we get this whole long conversation, the reason why the building design now is 80% is because of heat pumps. And also it's the belief that in the future, right now, if you look at what you call it, electrical generation in Connecticut and New England kind of thing. The concept here is that today's electrical generation is not as green as it could be. We are designing building 80% of using electricity, anticipating and hoping that the future electric generation will be greener. Right now, you look right now. I think I downloaded once about our current electricity in Connecticut. How much is actually nuclear? How much is this from from solar? How much is this from hydro and all that stuff? And again, the bet in the future is that more of this electricity in the future would be greener, and that's why we design our building to be electric. But right now, I believe, I think somebody can prove me wrong kind of thing, but I believe what we're doing now, our electricity is actually more expensive to run this building than it could be. But we're hoping the future electricity will be greener and we'll be more environmental friendly in the future.
Yeah, thanks, Alan, for the explanation. Thank you.
Thanks, Johan. Mr. Freyer.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I've been on this committee for 3 years now, and it's like going to college, and I listen to a lecture at least once a month from Alan about the physics of heating schools. And I got to say that from day one of when we started talking about the South Norwalk School, every single meeting we have addressed solar energy. He has been a proponent of it. He broke his back trying to get SNU to work with us so that we could put solar panels on the roof, on the ground, anywhere we could possibly squeeze them in. Really worked overtime on this. Every meeting for 2 years, we discussed this. And I'm getting a little tired of people getting on the phone and telling Alan or this committee that we should consider solar energy, and we should be really taking into consideration the expenses that we have by not using solar energy. He has gone out of his way to make sure that we've got the most efficient systems that we have out there. And I think he's just explained to us how you can't be all electric in schools because of the large living spaces that we've got to fill, and that's where gas comes in. So I just want to take this time and just pat him on the back again, and Joanne and the whole team there that have worked tirelessly on this. And it seems like every month we come in and somebody else in the public brings up the idea that we should have solar. It's not like this is this is not an epiphany for anybody, that he has worked very, very hard on it. So that's all I wanted to say. Let's vote.
Do appreciate that. And I will say, obviously we also appreciate that renewable energy remains front of mind for many of our constituents, and it's, understandable that they do bring it up. So we do thank them for that feedback as well. Johan?
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, thanks, Jim, for that too. And I think maybe it's a matter of us, letting the public know that this sort of rigorous investigation does take place. Because there's a lot of misinformation, there's a lot of misclarity on the topic. So, I mean, that's something we can certainly do more of. So that's all I want to say. Thanks.
Sure. There's no such thing as over-explaining in my world. Alan, to the point that Jim just brought up, it's my understanding, and you can, say, give us a yes or no, but that it's not common to get 60% reimbursement from the state for solar panels on a rooftop as a capital expense. Is that a fair statement to say?
No, I guess this explanation may be a little more complex. Traditionally, we do not install solar as a part of the capital project because our traditionally reimbursement rate is only 20 or 30%. So it doesn't make sense for us to spend capital budget money for or education capital money on solar panels because we only get 20 or 30% reimbursement.
And I don't want to, sorry, Alan, I don't want to go to, I think we understand that distinction. I'm just asking, in the rare instances where, it is included as a capital expense, is this something that is, it's in my understanding, it does not feel like a common thing for the state to include it. And it could be because the other capital expenditures usually eat up all the budget first. So I'm not sure if that's fair to say.
I think the state typically would consider it, but then the community do not do it because we don't want to use up our share of the money into a solar system. We want to use for education, right? So communities typically a lot of times don't do this. But only thing changes now, it changes my philosophy too in the future. Because again, traditionally we got 20 or 30% reimbursement rate. So we are putting a lot of money into this to do solar. But now with the new reimbursement rate by the state, it changes my philosophy because we can actually include in our capital budget, capital construction costs to do this and own the system ourselves. Because the state is willing to reimburse us, it's probably a better financial position the city will have. We do as a capital project by the city instead of leasing the system. Because we will, it's a long conversation. But at the same time, is that again, traditionally we only get 20 or 30% reimbursement. Why do we want to spend capital money only get 20% back? Might as well have the private sector build it. We pay for the utility costs kind of thing, and we save some money in the long term. But with the changes in state reimbursement for school construction, for like West Rock School, I think I may have a different perspective. Instead of asking for certain money for capital, I think I may request a little bit more to cover a solar panel project as part of the construction because we get 60% reimbursement. So the city outlay is only 40%. So it changed again. I think the future perspective will be changing, I believe. So I need to continue to evaluate the financial benefit of state reimbursement versus the power purchase agreement. So it's something that we need to look at as we move forward.
There's a couple of things that you have to take into consideration.
The direction of my question, so I appreciate you exploring that. Mr. Ferrier, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to jump in on top of you, but I think I think there's a couple of things that you have to take into consideration when we're looking at this. First of all, the cost of solar panels as they're starting to go down, as they start to go down, and if maybe somebody in their right mind in Washington would think about these things, that gets cheaper. The reimbursement gets higher. And so our return on investment on those panels becomes more profitable for us. Not more profitable, but greater savings that we're going to have over the long run. today, the problem is that the solar panels are too expensive. We get lower reimbursement from the state, and it just doesn't make any sense because it takes longer to pay for those things over a course of time. And therein lies the problem. So it's a balancing act that we have to go through. And Alan's very aware of it. I mean, it's a complicated, we went through, I said enough. Let's stop me, please.
All right. Well, Jim called for a vote earlier. If there are no more questions or discussion points, we can go and do just that. All in favor of increasing this contingency, please say aye or raise your hand. Okay, perfect. And again, this committee thanks Alan and the entire team for the incredible work that goes into making these things happen, often behind the scenes. Okay, on to G. This was an item that I asked to be added. And we heard a couple of comments about it earlier today. Really, I wanted to engage, a brief discussion about the mechanics of this kind of public-private partnership, and really dive into what has been the precedent for that in Norwalk, where you have a private organization running a business that the city owns, for example, at Calf Pasture Beach, and what are the advantages of doing something like that. So this is really for us to discuss as a committee. I'd love to hear if Alan or other staff have thoughts on it, but I'm going to open the floor.
Since I talk all the time, so I'm going to just keep yapping. Well, I don't want to hold it with that too long, but the city does not really, through the years, the city does not own a lot of property at the end of the day. I mean, we have three community centers, which is Nathaniel Ely Center, Ben Franklin Center, and Roosevelt Center. Those are the three main buildings that we lease it out for different purposes. And most of it is a community service group kind of thing. We do not generate a lot of revenues, and it's everybody do community services and stuff like that. So it's not straight business kind of thing. It's a somewhat reduced rate, but at the same time, as time goes on, the council and the mayors through the years, we want to cover our, generally speaking, we want to cover our operating expenses, I think, at the minimum. I think that's a reasonable position that we've been looking at. We have to continue to look at what we charges for these nonprofit group that runs the facility, whether it's children daycare or like Crystal Theater, who is a performing group kind of thing. So we need to continue to look at those leases and see what's a reasonable. Connecticut Graphic Art, which is a Matthews Park. We need to continue to look at those things, and each building's operating expense is different. So we need to capture those numbers to be financially accountable to our taxpayers, even though that these are nonprofit groups, and we want to help support their operation in city facilities. I think that what's in front of us actually is very specifically the interest is actually about the concert hall. So that question that came up previously, occasionally there's public interest, to be partnered with the city to operate and run the concert hall. So I think maybe if this is a very specific request, I think we should look at it together, the committee as well as Colin as the chairman of this committee kind of thing. Maybe we should sit down and talk about it, what the process would be, and what the analysis would and typically we are, generally speaking, we are required to do a RFP, request for proposal, to see who's interested. And I think typically, again, we would do that. So I think if there's interest out there to look at concert hall and the future of the concert hall, so most likely we will actually develop an RFP and have the whoever in front of us submit a proposal, and chances are that's the only one that we will get kind of thing. But we probably have technically had to do that in order to meet our guidelines in terms of RFP process. But again, I think this question came up many times. There's 4 user group, I believe, that's currently using the concert hall, and most of the time they use the building during not summer months, but mostly every weekend is all taken up by the operation and users, and that includes the community room. And when there are events, the setup is actually on like probably a Friday afternoon and stuff like that. So there are potential impact. Not, I wouldn't say impact is such a negative word, but at the same time, there's you know, when they start trying to set up things like that, you know, events kind of thing, it does create a little bit of a parking issue for us, especially, but typically they don't have event. I mean, sometimes we have graduations or something like that in City Hall. That's more of a problem because there are a lot of people coming to City Hall, and generally speaking, with a parking lot's full already. So there's certain sensitivity about that, and but anyway, so I think that's where I want to stop. I don't want to take up too much time, but I think that if there's a group out there that's really interested in the concert hall, we need to sit down and to see generally speaking, our interest level, and then if we are generally speaking interested, then we need to probably do our RFP out, and or RFQ, which is qualification to start a conversation. You know, I think that's the direction I would recommend. So.
Thank you, Ellen. I just want to state for the record, in interest of transparency, I do have a professional relationship with the conservatory, and so I will likely not be an active voice in that conversation. And so I'll turn it over to Mr. Lopez.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Alan, for that explanation. 2 quick questions. Is there currently an existing guideline that governs PPPs in Norwalk? And second, how legally complex are those arrangements?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that, your question again?
Yeah. So is there an existing guideline that governs these sort of like partnerships? And the second is how legally complex are these arrangements?
We don't, there is no we do it basically a lease relationship. It's like concession at the beach. We will advertise it, and then previously we got Stu Leonard that submitted a proposal to us and different group kind of thing, and so it's not like a partnership as in like, you know, we get together and decide on this. We just speaking, the city would decide that, geez, you know, we got a concession building, or we got Ben Franklin Center, which has a auditorium kind of thing. We actually issue RFP, and then knowing that the initial request actually came from a group, but we still RFP out to make sure there's no other people is interested, and then that meets our requirement. So I wouldn't call it a partnership. It's generally speaking a lease, but it's a very favorable lease because we are interested in their participation in providing these services to the community. So in a way, that becomes a partnership, but it's not really like a joint venture kind of thing. We are the property owner, and we lease it out, but there's a relationship, but it's not like a partnership. We're not like so yes. I don't think we ever have a partnership in using city building. We go ahead.
Yeah, no. Is there any reason why? Is it because it might be really legally complex to do so, or it's just never been brought forward?
Well, we put up our building, so it turned out to be a lease situation. But that relationship, it's very favorable to this group. So in a way, it becomes a partnership, but we don't call it a partnership.
No, I mean, with respect to like joint ventures, let's say shared capital and two parties, they invest, that sort of thing has never been done before, correct?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever done before. And I'm also, it's similar to like Oak Hills and Lockwood Matthews Mansion and Maritime Aquarium kind of thing. Those are actually city property, right? So the city, in order to, because we are not designed to run golf courses and aquariums and historic buildings. So cities set up authorities or boards. The Lockwood Matthews Mansion is city-owned property, but the Lockwood Matthews Mansion board is actually in a way it was created by the city, so it's a separate entity, 501c3 kind of thing, to help run the building. And we, at the same time, we provide financial support through the Historic Commission to continue to maintain and improve the property. Meanwhile, the board go out to and solicit funding and have a management staff and stuff. So in a way, that's a partnership, but at the same time, it's complex, right? It's we are continuous financial supports it, but it's not a specific amount that we put into well, actually, we do on the operating side. We actually give them some money every year. I think it's $100,000 in operating to run the building, but it's an asset that the city have, and we want to continue to protect it. And the mechanism is creating a board to do this. So it is complex in a way, but at the same time, it is a partnership, but it's not like joint venture. Two groups get together and sign an agreement that say I'm going to contribute this, you're going to contribute that kind of thing. It's yeah.
Okay, thank you, Alan. Yep, thank you so much.
Thank you, Johan. Mr. Bailey.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to just sort of echo my support for this. I think it is, there is precedent, as Alan said, about, offsetting operating expenses for organizations that actually, have an expertise. And, the earlier public comment, I couldn't agree more, is that there's no reason why sort of a Norwalk organization should be hosting events in Bridgeport at record numbers. We want to have those people in Norwalk. And the other point too is that Norwalk has an amazing history in the arts that we want to continue and be a leader in. One of the biggest bands in the country is a band called Goose that has strong Norwalk ties. They sell out Madison Square Garden last year. And so, I'm all for this proposal, and I think it's going to be great if we get the theater to be really, or get the auditorium to be a center of the arts for the region.
Big Goose fan here.
Huge.
Mr. Prayer.
Thank you, Colin, and thank you very much for bringing this subject up. I know that this came up, the concept came up last year. I remember having a conversation with the boys from NOCO, and I think that this is just a brilliant idea. A couple of things though. As far as the lease manager goes, Alan and I recently had a conversation about, how do we handle leases in the city, and it's really kind of opportunistic. There doesn't seem to be a real guidelines on how we go about doing that. I don't think we've got ourselves into any trouble, but and I think Alan is the guy that should be involved in every one of those leases that we have. More specifically, I think that the idea of using the concert hall at City Hall, I think, is just a brilliant idea. I think obviously to offset some of the cost of operating the City Hall, we're putting in another $250,000 in the budget this year for City Hall. The economic and as Brian just mentioned too, the economic impact to the city, the economic benefit to the city is going to be huge to have all those people coming. Instead of spending their money in Bridgeport, they can spend their money in Norwalk. Not just on ticket sales, but you think about all the other restaurants and everything like that goes along. And NOCO alone, if you take a look at the Wall Street area, what they've done, just the vibrancy that they bring to that area, and then in the restaurants that have a I don't want to overuse the word vibe, but there is a vibe down there now, and it's primarily because of the involvement of the younger students down there. So I think that this is just a win-win situation. The symphony buys into it. They're the only other people that really use it to any extent. I think I looked at some of the numbers that that NOCO put together in their presentation. It's not like the city's giving away the store, and I think it's I think it just has, it's just a win-win situation. We have to look at this thing really carefully and I think talk it up and I'm very, very enthusiastic about it. So, Colin, thank you for finally bringing this to the forefront.
Jim, and I tend to agree with a lot of the points. I think again, I want to be very clear for any public viewers. I will likely recuse myself from any vote on this. But Alan, to your points earlier, thinking about some of the precedents that may exist for this, and one of the commenters brought up Curtin Collins Stanford as a good analog. In terms of next steps, does it make sense to talk through, and we can do it offline, and bring it back to the next meeting? Does it make sense to talk through what a potential RFP could look like? Because I think, we do have a starting point, as Jim and others mentioned, with a pretty robust proposal that the conservatory has put together. Again, they can use that to bid on whatever we put together. But as Johan said, and I think it makes sense, instead of being a more opportunistic and reactionary to stuff like this, it could be something that we take a more intentional approach to. It is a great it is a great asset that the city has, and I don't see that many people would be against an opportunity to make it even greater.
Yeah, I think, and don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm going to say exactly what's on my mind, kind of thing, a little bit here. I think traditionally, every 5-8 years, a concept of privatizing the concert hall comes up, and traditionally, the issue. I know that what you folks says about the music group kind of thing, finding the balance between performing arts, theater kind of thing versus a concert hall, a music place kind of thing. Finding the balance is very tricky, because right now I believe that we have 4 music groups, and every time the different administration want to increase the rate, we got complaints coming in and increase the rate so that we cover our expenses. It's always a challenge in terms of finding what's a reasonable and fair amount to charge kind of thing. But at the same time, it's availability of space. These 4 groups require uses the space every weekend, generally speaking. So having another group come in, usually they're the one that kind of resists it. So and I understand that they are, some of these groups are in tune with this. That's great kind of thing. So I think we need to have those conversations, make sure that we are that we are all together on this thing, and then what proposal, giving the balance between music versus performing arts and all that. The needs are very physical needs in the concert hall is also different too. When you do, I don't know what the plans are, so let's talk about it. And I think we'll probably come from coordinated with the mayor's office and potential council. You may have a conflict of interest, maybe somebody else on council would be part of these conversations in terms of develop these concepts together. So I think maybe we can talk about a little bit more as next couple of weeks kind of thing to see, and maybe meet with the mayor. And she actually mentioned this to me already. There's an interest out there, so she was asking me some very basic questions similar to what we're talking about today. So I think we should sit down so we can look to develop process to potentially address some if there's any concerns out there, we should kind of know what they are and find the right balance in terms of how we want to move forward.
I appreciate that, Alan. Yes, it sounds like there is an appetite from this committee to kind of like peel back some layers and see exactly answer some of those questions and see what any possible paths forward can look like. So if we can continue the discussion offline and perhaps bring it back at a future meeting, that sounds great.
Generally speaking, there's no votes being requested at this point. It's just really just this should be a discussion item. So it's nothing specific that's put on the committee for voting tonight. That's my perspective. So
this was on the agenda as a discussion item, correct?
Right. So I think it sounds like without member of the committee taking votes, I get the general consensus that there's something we want to consider, entertain, and we as staff should take steps to see what this will bring to the city and to the community, kind of thing. So we will move. I will have a conversation with the mayor next chance I have, and concurrently I will continue to talk to Colin on as chairman of this committee to see how we can develop these ideas together.
Much appreciated. Thanks, Alan. More to come on that. And again, thanks to the folks who commented earlier during public comment. And I think that brings us to the end of the regular agenda. We can have a brief school update.
Sorry, Dan. Next time we are moving up beginning of the agenda.
Okay, Dan. Dan, just keep it brief.
I'm still here. I like to keep it brief, so that works for me. Let me share my screen. All right. Can everyone see the update?
Looks good.
All right. So South Norwalk Elementary School, as we know, is occupied fall of 2025. Recently, we approved going out to bid for the solar system, and it was on the agenda this evening to approve the construction manager to move forward with that work so that that can be awarded.
And that money is coming out for the free balance, generally speaking.
Yes. So it was a contingency increase, but that was money that was remaining in the balance for the project. So that hasn't been removed from this on this update. Next week, we have April break. There is some day 2 work that we will be in there completing. And then the last bit of information, just that the project closeout is typically done within a year of substantial completion. Since the solar work will take place over the summer and our substantial completion was at the very end of last summer, we would be right up to that deadline. And to be able to properly close out the project with the state, we will be extending that beyond the end of this summer. And I haven't updated this, but normally we would have been working through closeout completed by now, but we're extending it so the summer work can take place. The Norwalk High School P-TECH project building envelope continues to progress. You'll see when we get into the photos, there's a drone image that shows the wings closest to the existing school. So you're looking through the glass here in this picture, see the existing school. We're further along on that end where we began construction. And as we work to the back of the building towards King Street, we have the brick facade going up to close in the areas closest to the art area, the performing arts. I'm not sure what happened there. Performing arts, gym, and pool areas. And that's over on the King Street end of the building. Site improvements, we do have a modular retaining wall that went out over on the Narragansett side of the property. We are actively planning to begin some of the Narragansett softball field work in the summer of 2026. So in a few short months. As far as the interior of the building, walls are going up, includes block walls, framed, metal framed walls, drywall. A number of areas are already receiving taping and painting. We have ceilings going up in a number of these areas. You'll see that in some of the photos we get into it. We also have other finishes like wall tile near the bathroom areas. And the stairs at the stair tower and egress areas, those have been poured. As far as mechanical, electrical, and plumbing, again, see more when we get into the photos, but a lot of the rough-in has been completed. That's what allows us to move forward with closing in walls and beginning to install ceiling grid in different areas. And then from there, it's the final MEP work and the finishes. So we'll jump down, and to the right here, this is one of the project rooms in the Norwalk High School wing. It's a 2-story room with plenty of light. Overall schedule to be completed November of 2028.
The new addition is, I mean, the new building is going to be completed by fall of 2027 next year.
Yes. So the school will be occupied for fall of 2027, and then the entire project will be completed by the end of 2027 or
And
2028.
can I just jump in
Let's see,
quickly,
I'm off,
Dan?
actually. Yeah.
Just to let you all know, I just want to remind you all of the tour that you are all invited on, Tuesday, at 3 at the new Norwalk High. And if you have any questions, please let me know, but I may not be there myself. I have jury duty. So I'm going to leave that up to Dan and Alan to join you.
And we'll run through some photos, which is the more exciting part. Here's a drone image of the school. The center here is the main entrance. You can kind of see the canopy down here. To the left is the Norwalk High School wing. To the right, P-Tech wing. And then to the back here on the left is the auditorium. The right is the auxiliary gym. Center here is the main gym with the pool in the back right and the performing arts space in the back left. And that's King Street in the background. Narragansett off to the right. This is the modular retaining wall that we talked about. And this summer, this fence will be relocated to the edge of the field, and they'll be able to flip-flop this softball field. It's a little bit better use of space, and that will be completed by the end of the summer. Again, Norwalk High School wing to the left, main entrance on the right here, the entrance canopy. Above that's a media center library space. This is the end. Again, back over here was that main entrance. This is the end of the Norwalk High School wing. The P-Tech wing in the far right here in the background. This is looking down one of the corridors of the Norwalk High School wing. You can see that, like we mentioned before, generally the MEP rough-in above the ceiling is, the rough-in part of it is complete. That allows us to install the ceiling grid, frame out the soffits. These walls, the lower portion gets wall protection, so the upper portion has been primed for paint. Door frames are in. This is an example of what I believe is a classroom. We have finished paint going up on the walls, ceiling grid, and then again, the MEP work above ceiling is complete. Here is a interior frame with glazing installed. To the right here is some interior tile. Looks to be one of the sink areas in one of the bathrooms. And this is just showing that we're turning a corner for finishes in the building. And in the last few weeks, we've actually started putting down floor prep and flooring in areas, but I don't have photos of that in this presentation. If there's no questions about the high school, we can very quickly run through the HVAC IAQ projects. So Brookside, substantially complete at this point. The team's still working with Board of Ed facilities to resolve some warranty items. That was finished near the end of last summer, went into the fall a little bit, and we're just working with Board of Ed facilities to make sure everything's up and running and there's no issues with those systems. Rowayton, really the important part, I guess, for this meeting is that in the coming weeks over April break, we do have a lot of work beginning outside of the school that people will see. This is related to that easement where we will be installing a new transformer pad. There's new electrical primary lines that go from the street up to that transformer pad. So there will be some fencing and site work going on outside of the Rowayton School. Brian McMahon, the photo here shows the new chillers in place. We're continuing to wrap up some of this exterior work with the bollards and sidewalks and handrails and and finishes around the loading dock area that's just out of view here. Silver Mine really is substantially complete. We are reviewing some additional work that may take place over the summer, and that's some additional controls work that will enhance the Board of Ed facilities management of the new systems and existing systems. And then over at Narragansett, we were installing units in the classrooms, VRF equipment. The ceilings and lightings in the corridors are being replaced. They were previously down to allow us to run our new work above ceilings. And that's really all I have for the HVAC projects. There's no other photos, just kind of in the report, there's the overall project schedules for each project. And that's what we have for the presentation this month.
Thank you so much,
Okay.
Dan.
Thank you. Thank you, Dan.
No problem.
And I know we had moments of questions, but I just want to see if there's any final questions about any of those school updates. Otherwise, as Joanne reminded us, we do have our own personal tour of Norwalk High School Tuesday at 3 p.m.
3 o'clock.
Sharp. We'll be there with boots. Don't forget your boots. And I believe, unless there is anything else, we have come to the end of our agenda. Mr. Degenshire?
Motion to adjourn.
All in
Second.
favor? Alan, Dan, Darlene,
Yes.
Joanne,
Sure.
thank you so much for the long haul. We really appreciate it.
Have a
Alright.
good night.
Have a great
Thanks,
night.
everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you all. Good night.